Good morning, Taryn.
Good morning, Michael.
How are you this fine day?
I am good. How about you?
I'm still a little cooked, but otherwise doing spectacular. Thank you.
That's good. So what are we doing today?
We're doing the Saturday questions today.
Oh, okay. So like every Saturday I get some questions.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to answer them correctly, but I know that I'm not that much expert as you.
No, I disagree. I think you have a lot of amazing information, but I think it's important that we take the questions that you're getting asked, especially the ones that come up repeatedly, and then we can discuss what the proper solution, at least come to an agreement as to what the proper solution is and things. And sometimes if we don't know the answer, let's find out and get back, right?
Yeah.
That way we can come up with these videos where people can watch, view, get their questions answered. So maybe they're a little bit more informed. Maybe they can't come down to the store and see you at 435 Dewdney. A little dig there. But it's still good to know, right? Because we keep discussing, there's so much misinformation about flooring.
Yeah, that's
Every
right.
manufacturer, every supplier is coming out, oh, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And 6 months later, oh, they pull it because it's garbage, right? So I think talking with an actual store that's been around for as many decades as we have been around, it's important to be able to share that with people.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Plus, I can be more confident, like if I get the same question again while answering, and I can give more information to customer.
Yep. And as we're playing these in the showroom, as you had before, people go watch, go, oh, geez, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yay, oh, we're selling ABC.
Yep. So last Saturday, I had a customer. So from the research and everything, I knew that they're very serious about the products. So, but I had a very strange question. Like, I think it totally depends on the mindset of the customer.
Okay.
Some people have that mindset that they don't care about the brands. Like some people, when they go for shopping for clothes, also they don't care about brands. So they just go for what's the quality, what's the color, what's the design, and that's it.
Right.
So same with the flooring thing. So most of the customers, they come and they just tell that this is our preference. And this is the marble we have, the countertop we have. These are the cabinet color. So I am looking for a subway tile, and that's it. I can help them. We have these colors. This can go with this. So, but I had a customer, and he was he looked at all the tiles, and he was like, "What's the difference between these brands?" So
okay, we're talking tile specifically.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay.
So he was like, you have so many brands.
Yeah.
Which one is better?
Okay.
And why should I he looked at some other brand in some other store. So we don't carry that brand for many reasons. So so I was like, we have this Ames brand, we have this brand like Casaroma, and we have Ceratec. He was like, why should I get Ames over Casaroma or Casaroma over Ames? I was like, okay. So I was not expecting that question.
Yeah, that's a good one, and that one's is so much more difficult with tile than it is with everything else. How did you answer that?
So I was like, I told him that they are all brands. So then I was like, he was like, okay, so what's the difference between these brands? So which one is better? So I said that as per my knowledge, every company has to follow certain standards of manufacturing.
Okay.
So they must have followed all the manufacturing standards. So
okay.
I know it was not 100% correct answer because I was clueless what to answer for this question.
Should have called me to ask me that question.
Really? Okay.
Because again, the big thing is give the right information, or even say, listen, let me find out and get back to you, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Because so if I may, tile, at least in Canada, is different. Okay. So and this is not necessarily a bad thing or a good thing. It just is what it is. So the tile suppliers that we deal with, and there are quite a few, they're legion. They don't make anything. Okay. They import it.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ceratec, to say one, right? They might have some tile from China, some from Spain, some from Italy, some from Portugal, all over the place, right? And actually, to go even further than that, not all of them even import their own product. So there's a company, Anatolia, that does apparently billions and billions of dollars worth of company. And what they do is they import in and then they resell to the tile distributors.
Okay.
Okay. So which is why we run into situations sometimes, not all the time, where 2 or 3 manufacturers might actually have the exact same tile and exact same colors and exact same sizes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, so it's not that one manufacturer is better than the other in terms of their tile selection. So would I choose Ceratec over Julian or, Richmond over Ames or vice versa or any one of those things? No. Okay. So why do we have so many tile suppliers in our store? We need the selection because as good as Ceratec is or Ames is or Julian, any one of those guys, they have a great selection. They don't have enough of a selection. None of them does everything. Okay. So simple for that. The other part to our way of selecting a tile supplier is service.
Okay.
So the challenge is that if we sell tile to a customer, we sell, we supply, we install it, get it all done, and then there's a problem, we deal with the companies that we know are going to back us up, right? If we made a mistake, let's fix it. If there's a tile issue, I need them to step up and say, yeah, no, this was milled incorrectly, or this was fired wrong, or, and step up and fix it. Okay. So we're very cautious on what tile suppliers we bring in.
Oh, well, yeah.
But not necessarily because one has better tile than the other, just because we need the selection of what they carry, right? Olympia does a lot of stones, Cerana does a lot. There's so many different guys or companies. We try to find the right selection and we try to find the right partners to work with.
All right.
Okay. So again, I take a look at, I use Ceratec in my home out at the lake. Why did I go Ceratec? Curtis is a great guy, the rep that we deal with. I know he's going to support me to the ends of the earth. I don't think he gave me a deal, but it was the right look for what we wanted and the right price. Great. Don't think he gave me a deal. I should talk to him. But so that's the thing. So it's not that one is a better tile supply. It's not like a Mirage hardwood versus an import hardwood where we can say, oh, it's better because they do this, they do this. These different companies might be buying the exact same product, putting a different label on the product. Sometimes they don't even miss the different label. Sometimes you can actually do a name search. You'll find 2 or 3 or 4 different suppliers selling the same stuff, and it's actually brought in by Anatolia.
Yeah.
So that's why selection and service.
Okay.
Not that one's better or worse.
So, cause when I show tiles to customers, I tell them like this is little expensive, this is like cost effective, this is little cheap. So they're like, why it's like cost effective? So I answered this like question is like, it's a brand, right? So as you said that like all of them import their tiles and they label as their brand name under their brand name. So like in my knowledge, I think that if I talk about a high-end brand that's like expensive, so it's because they are in the market for so many years. They have like put money in marketing thing. They have name in the market. That's why it's expensive.
Yeah.
Plus the service thing as well.
Yeah.
So if they are backing up, like after sale service is like more important, I would say.
Yeah. And yes, and I agree. But especially with tile and with a lot of things, there is differences in construction, right? So and we'll call it XYZ supplier, just so I don't peeve anybody off. XYZ supplier can buy El Cheapo tile, they could buy good quality tile, or they could buy spectacular quality tile, right? Now, again, we talked about before about thicknesses and whatever else. The thickness of the tile, in my opinion, doesn't matter, again, other than for height transference, but it's the density of the core, it's the scratch resistance of the finish, it's the slip coefficients that they put on there if it's made for flooring or for wet. There's industrial quality tile, then there's more residential quality tile. But the visual. So the visuals on these tiles are copyrighted. Okay. So for better end stuff, it's copyrighted. So when a supplier comes out, when a distributor brings in a line that nobody else has, and they say, wow, this looks spectacular, they charge more for it. And then what people do is they find ways to copy it. Maybe the lines aren't exactly all this way. Maybe one goes this way, or maybe there's a little different kind of a dot here. So they can get around that copyright, and that brings the price overall down. Because that price went down doesn't mean the quality went down. It just means now like there's competition.
Yeah, that's correct.
Right. So we have tile that ranges anywhere from what, $249 a square foot up to unlimited.
Yeah.
There's actually some tile apparently has some gold in it. We don't carry that line, but it was really cool. It was showing that to me in Saskatoon. But yeah, it can be the quality. It can be again the porcelain versus ceramic. It can be that it obviously costs more to make something in Italy than it does, say, in China. So there's differences there, but it's also the look. If they have something that they know they can get away with charging more than the other guys, well, they're companies. They're here to make profit, right? So they'll do so. But just because the price is higher doesn't necessarily mean it's better. Just like if it's cheaper doesn't necessarily mean it's worse.
Yeah, that's a very good point, like the copyright thing, because there are some customers who are like more worried. They don't want to see the same tile they have in their house and like big commercial organizations.
Right.
So I think I got my answer. Like if you are looking for something unique, you should go for this brand. Otherwise, you can look for these brands as well.
Yeah, but the brand still doesn't matter. Like, so Delta, for instance, we do a lot of Delta in, commercial applications and residential applications. You can use it in both. And Dell doesn't make any of their own tile. They're buying from other people. So it's not the brand of Delta that's making the difference. It's the specific product that we're using in that application. Right.
That's correct.
So if they don't want the same look that's in every commercial space out there, okay, difficult because we don't know what's going to be in 5 years look-wise, right? So maybe they go with a beautiful terracotta look of tile because nobody's using terracotta right now. That's not true, but And then 4 or 5 years from now, the designers rediscover, it shouldn't have been bunny years on designers. The designers rediscover that terracotta is the greatest thing ever, right?
Yeah.
So now that goes, it's difficult that way. The big thing is I would always push, try to go with something timeless. Let's try to go with something that you go, wow, I love the look of that. Because again, you're the one who has to live with it. You walk in, I would so hate to walk into my home every day and go, well, at least I didn't see that everywhere today. I want to walk in and go, wow, man, my floor looked great. What's this piece of dust on here? Oh, I did that. Yes. Okay, great.
Yeah, that's correct. Again, it's like customers' preference, like what they want. Because we cannot anticipate trend. It's like changing every day. So, and then timeless is, some people have that thing in their mind that we want something trendy or funky. But there are some people like they just want the thing that is timeless, as you said.
I love funky. I love pop. I love color. We did a house with Varsity a while back, and the whole home was pretty neutral, was pretty standard, except for they had this vision for a lipstick red tile backsplash.
Oh.
I was like, okay. Did it, went ahead. I walked into that home because I just needed to see it. Wow, did it look amazing. Just gorgeous, right? But again, I take a look at my own stuff. And again, it's different level, different places in life and different expectations and whatever. And my understanding is these people, this is the home for the rest of their lives. Whereas myself, I tend to change homes every 10, 15 years. So I just want to be able to resell it. So I'm looking more at resale. Whereas again, the place of the lake, we are going to keep that forever. So I went a little bit more pop because I'm not going to be able to sell it anyway. So I might as well just make it the way I like it.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay. So is this this thing that we discussed about tiles goes for hardwood as well?
No. Well, yes and no. So the main manufacturers we carry would be, Magna, Mirage, Lauson, and Richmond, right? Those are the 4 major ones we carry. Mirage and Lauson make their own product.
Yep, that's
They have
correct.
100% control over it, which is why it's more money, which is why it's the best, right? Whereas, again, Richmond, Magna, I guess, and some Fusion, they're importing. They're buying from suppliers. Now, unlike tile, they're specifically giving them their requirements. They're not just buying whatever's coming out. They're telling them, listen, we need this color with this pattern on this species, on this platform. So there's still a lot more control over it. But so not quite the same. But the import stuff, It's imported. The stuff made in Canada, it's theirs.
Yeah. So like the other question is related to this question. Like Luzon and Mirage, we know that they are the best brands in hardwood. So I had a customer and she was like, what's the difference between Mirage and Luzon? Because in my opinion, that Mirage is like, they are competitive, but Mirage still is the best as per my thinking. So she was like, why it's best? So I told her that I could be wrong here, but I told her that because you told me that they follow a like rigorous manufacturing process. They are very cautious when they are like selecting hardwood, and every board is like uniform. So
yeah, uniform in milling, yes, no problem. Okay, and then if somebody used to say, why Luzon over Mirage or Mirage over Luzon to me? I would say that they're very comparable to each other.
Yeah.
Right? They're both high-end Canadian manufacturers using as much North American wood as is humanly possible. There's just some differences between them. So I'm very comfortable with Mirage because I've been dealing with it since the age of 14, helping my father on the shore, right? I've gone on the mill tour, I'm going to guess 10 times.
Okay.
Maybe 7, 10 times, somewhere in there. Luzon, I've done once. But there's differences in how they come with things, but there's also differences in look, right? The Mirage looks don't translate over to Luzon. Luzon has a different look to it, has a different color palette, has a different way that they're going, doing a lot more of the really, really wide stuff, more funky stuff. So it's very complementary between the two, as well as, especially now that Mirage they haven't gotten rid of, but they've really moved away from solid. Luzon has a spectacular solid line that they work with. The other cool thing we take a look at Luzon is, so Luzon on their main lines have their Pure Genius finish, right? Which is a titanium dioxide in the finish, which actually breaks down VOC. So it actually cleans the air as sunlight hits it. The other thing Luzon has that Mirage doesn't, they own their own forest, which is really cool, right? So Mirage is amazing in that they control their production right from the wood comes in to blah, 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 blah. Luzon cuts down their trees. Right? Like they control that whole thing, and just going through their forest, talking with their arborists about how they do this and why they cut this tree, but not this tree, and how they let the forest regrow and reharvest it. And it says there's constantly renewable resource is really cool. So the technology of finish is freaking awesome. They control their own forest, but they're different looks, right? I can't, other than like a maple natural or like a natural thing, I can't take two samples and go, wow, they're the same. I don't know why to pick one. When we're looking at different colors of browns, Mirage has different colors than Luzon, or grays, or things like that, right? So I find them very complementary. Would I say one's better than the other? No, both spectacular. I would use both in my home every single day of the week.
Yeah. So customers just have to like see what their preference is, and then they can decide between them, because we cannot say that one is better than the other.
No, and everybody can have their personal opinion, right?
Yeah.
Some of our installers to say, oh, Mirage is best because it fits together better. And somebody say, oh, Luzon is better because it does. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions, but just looking at it from sort of the standing back point of view, I find them so comparable. I wouldn't say one's better than the other.
Okay. Got my answer for that as well. Okay. So the next question is about the tile. So I had a customer, he was looking at like usually what people get for their backsplash is like simple subway tile in like polished look. So that's it. Or some different shapes. That's it.
Correct.
So I had a customer, he was looking for tile, like porcelain tile. That's in mosaic on sheets.
Okay.
So he was asking like if it's good for backsplash. So I know like porcelain is better than ceramic. Like in quality or build. So he was asking, his question was like, is it like good with the stains? So I had that thing in my mind. I was like, yes, it is. But I had that thing in my mind, is it like possible to put some kind of coating over it to like protect it from, because of course it's like backsplash and we cook. So there is a high chance we splash things on it. And
absolutely.
So
now, and so for that, porcelain versus ceramic doesn't matter.
Okay.
Because again, something with a impermeable finish on there, which is going to be 99% of ceramics and 99% of porcelains.
Okay.
Both work great.
Okay. So
So it doesn't really matter between the two. The big thing is you have to be careful when you're doing a backsplash is natural stone. So like a marble or a travertine or something like that, where you're supposed to be resealing it every couple of years or every year. Nobody does. Those will stay in. But again, a glazed tile, so a tile that has the finish on there, no problems.
Okay.
The polished ones, easier to clean because less nooks and crannies to sort of get into.
Yeah.
And realistically, the grout is the weakest part of that whole thing, right?
Yep.
But again, the grouts we're using don't really require sealing anymore, but you can clean them very well. But there is coatings we could put on over top to sort of bring that back and everything else. So porcelain versus ceramic, I just find porcelain is sort of a waste to go up on the wall. So typically porcelains cost more than ceramics.
Yeah, that's
because
correct.
they're harder, because they resist a lot more wear and tear. Backsplash, if anybody's walking your backsplash, please show me how, because I'd love to be like Spider-Man walking on the walls, all kind of weird and funky. So that's why you find most mosaics, I think you'll find, and not all, but most mosaics will be a ceramic because they're not made for floor, they're made for walls. And there's no benefit to be putting a porcelain up on the wall. Although again, my own place at the lake, I have porcelain up on the wall.
Okay.
Why? Because it matched exactly the tile that I use in some of the areas. So it's just sort of a consistency on there. I didn't choose it because it's porcelain. I didn't care. I'd rather ceramic, rather spend less, but it just worked because the color.
Okay. So do you like suggest customers like to go over polished look rather than matte for backsplash, or it doesn't matter?
I would go less texture. So the smoother the finish is what I recommend, just because that's easier to clean. I personally like polished on backsplashes because the sort of the shine back on there sort of brightens it up, in my opinion. But not for durability, not for whatever purpose, just smoothness.
Okay. Yeah, it's easy to clean as well.
Yes. Making spaghetti or anything tomato-based or whatever, it goes everywhere. It just is what it is, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Make it easy to make it still look pretty at the end of the day.
Yeah. Plus, I had a designer, I think, in the showroom. So she gave me a tip. Like, I was like, she was saying that what should be, like, we were discussing about what should be the backsplashes, should be polished or matte.
Right.
So she said that it totally depends on like what do you want to be the center of your kitchen.
Yeah.
So if you want your countertop or your cabinets to be the center of kitchen, just use matte look.
Right.
So otherwise, just use polished look if you want that to be the center of attraction.
Yeah.
So that was a very good tip.
It's a very good tip.
Yeah. So that's it for now.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for answering these questions for our customers.
My pleasure. Have a great day.
Yeah.